Hello, everyone. We are now live. It is 8:30. It's Monday night. Myself and Josh are back for you all about
Not
Arsenal
frozen.
podcast. We we've got loads to talk about and finish, Josh. We've had Carabao Cup during the week. Chelsea
Yep.
game I'm going to touch on. We've been at Nottingham Forest, which was not so good, and then we've got upcoming Inter plus Man United as well. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on. So anyone who's watching live, I've chucked down in the chat box for tonight a little link. If you want to join in, have a chat. As long as you're over 18, you've got a camera, you want to get involved in the podcast tonight, it's just an open invite. Join in.
Fully
I'll see you
clothed
on
as well.
here.
Fully clothed.
Preferably clothing would help.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how we go. But check it out. But I'm going to play the intro first. Josh, as we always love it, and he likes to take the mic. Phone in, boys. Right, speak soon. Here we go. Still love it. I still really love it, Josh. Even that little bit extra bit I've added on, I like it. But for people watching, for logging in, thank you for joining us. It's myself and Josh, the All About Arsenal podcast. So we're literally looking back at the week that we've just had and the week going forward. So, but if you haven't heard, little link in description. Just going to plug it a few times. If you want to join in tonight, a bit of an interactive one if you want, you can join us. All you need is your iPhone and you can jump in and join us and have a chat and see who's that. So we've got people still also messaging as well. So drop your comments. I'll shout you out. My mate Tom's in the chat, I think, as well. So Tom, comment, like, share, get involved if you want. But Josh, where do we start? Do we start Nottingham Forest? Do you want to go Chelsea? What you're cool, mate?
I
Fearless
think I
choice.
think we'll start periodically. So we'll go with Chelsea and the Carabao Cup. Let's start on a
Cool.
real positive.
Yes.
No, well, I say a real positive. There's a lot of positives in the fact that we won. But yeah, obviously conceding 2 goals, especially to that argy bargy.
I know. Well, I think even I had a Chelsea friend of mine watching it, and he was fuming, absolutely fuming. And he texted me later.
What? Because Garnacho scored.
Yeah, he's like the lesbian scored. That's his actual words. And he's a Chelsea fan, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's even bad. I don't actually mind Garnacho, but it was of all the people, he's like the one to pop up and score twice.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset that we conceded at all. I mean, there were quite good goals. They caught us. It was back post for one of them, and a
Yeah.
volley
It
that
was
bounced. It was
kind of
harsh,
sleeping a
really.
little
But
bit, weren't we?
yeah, I think because we were flying so well on that, and I made a couple of notes because within 6 minutes you had Ben White, fucking love Ben White, jumping
Yeah.
up. He was unmarked pretty much, bang head, perfect.
Yeah.
The perfect start to that game, which I was like, this is it, this is great. New
Yeah.
manager bounce, no way. Who's this guy? And it carried on from there really, and. The only thing I really thought of Esteval, isn't it? He's quite sharp on the right. He was
Yeah,
my
and
only
he did
concern.
he did cause some problems for Timber. I mean, obviously Timber is, in my opinion, one of the best right backs in the world. Obviously, he's playing at left
Yeah,
back, but he can play across the whole back four. So, but yeah, he was giving him problems, and
yeah,
yeah, I
cool.
mean, he looks like a good player. I think he sort of showed his age a little bit with some of his decision making, but
Well, he's only like 18,
nonetheless,
and he's really young.
yeah, nonetheless, he's still very dangerous, and
Mm.
I'm sure he might well give us some problems even at our place. I do think it will be a bit of a different game in that we will dominate completely um,
Yeah.
in the return leg. But yeah,
Well,
no,
you got
I mean
home
it was
advantage
a
for
good
one, isn't it?
it was a good game to watch as well. To be honest with you, I mean, uh, you know, Chelsea, they're not a bad side. Obviously, they're a very youthful team, but they're fairly well set up. The only thing I really don't, and I know when we was watching it all and messaging each other, is Enzo Fernandez. I cannot stand him. Um, he's just one of them players that if I was ever in a position where I played against him, he would be the one
Mm.
I'd be wanting to absolutely clatter.
Yes, absolutely. I do not
um,
disagree with you on that one.
yeah, 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 and yeah. Aside from that, I thought we were fair. You know, it was a shame really that we did let in the goals because I thought we looked reasonably comfortable.
Hmm.
Throughout the whole game. Especially being a away game, and in a complete contrast to Forest and even the Liverpool game. we took our chances, and we still had more chances. We could have scored more, but
Yeah.
we actually took some chances, and it was a good game to watch.
It was. I mean, we had a lot of shots. When you look at the stats, Josh, I mean,
Yeah,
we were pretty dominant on the XG front. It was 2.84 on the Chelsea game, where they were 0.75. So, it
yeah,
just shows you that they really shouldn't have been conceding those goals. Possession wise, that we gave up a lot of possession. I found
yeah,
we were 58% possession. Obviously, they're at home, so there's always going to be that kind of element of that, I suppose.
yeah.
But we had 17 shots, 6 on target, 4 big chances, which is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
A lot of corner kicks, but you could see by the passing, they had so many more passes than us as well. Hence the possession side of things, they were keeping the ball a lot more. But they had 422 passes completed to our 294. 4 yellow cards. There was a few stupid yellow cards. I mean, Cucurella, deserved more than that. But he always does. I think Saka had it on toast that game. In fairness, all he can do is kick him. But it was just it was good dominant performance to see it. To be fair, so really, really happy with how that went. But for that just conceding, that's the only thing that annoyed me. And I think it was Gyökeres's best game in an Arsenal shirt. I think I've seen.
I mean, he actually got man of the match, which I don't know if he was that good, but he was a lot better than he has been. Just seemed like he had a little bit more of a zip about him in terms of his closing down and stuff like that. He just looked like he was up for it. Which was good. It was good to see. It's good to see, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we bought him for. We bought him to get goals. We bought him to be a threat up top. And I think there is. I think the 2 goals actually came after he went off. So he actually went off, and
so true,
that kind of proved a little bit of a point in terms of what he does off the ball, or what he can do off the ball, in the fact that he sort of creates that distance, because he'll push up, and he'll it basically stops the defenders really from sort of like playing with the ball, playing across the back, and side to side, and sort of any sort of build up play. It kind of nullifies that a bit, and I think it sort of proved his worth really when he actually went off, and because
you end
up getting sort of players like Jesus who drops deep, and then you haven't got that outlet, and it kind of creates more pressure on you if they've got the ball. So I can see tactically why Arteta will keep on picking him really as well.
Yeah, it's for these teams, and especially the low blocky type teams and bits like that. But he stretches the play, and I think you noticeably saw Chelsea kind of step forward and get further in, because, like I say, Jesus was in midfield pretty much, which is why we've got a Gyökeres, I suppose, in the first place. But then he just goes missing in so many games, or he's not getting the service like we've said before.
Exactly that. That's what's really been frustrating with him. And I think then, sort of moving on to the Forest game, it was sort of that he was back to his old self, really.
Unfortunately, and that's the problem.
But in that respect, I think all the there wasn't any player that really stood out that you kind of thought, oh yeah, they had a half decent game. Maybe Ben White, you'd probably go, he wasn't too bad. But yeah, I think everyone else was pretty dire in that game.
Yeah, there's an element. I mean, I want to carry on just on some of the points in the Chelsea game, because obviously there was the Gyökeres goal, which obviously was quite interesting, because just before that, wasn't it, Saka had gone forward, could have done the same thing as White did, passed the ball across, and he passed back. And there's this, is there an issue there? Is there not? I don't think there is. I think people.
I don't think there is. I think that's the media, rival fans as well, sort of trying to create
something.
Yeah, trying to create something that's not there. I think he was annoyed that the ball didn't get played in, but you would be, because you feel like that was your opportunity. Then, luckily, obviously, within that literally that same move, he passes it to Ben White, who then puts the ball in, and he does get it. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's you can't.
I mean, it was a Sanchez moment, wasn't it, as well?
I just think, exactly. I mean, obviously, there was a bit of, it was quite fortunate in the way that it did get through to him and fell to him, but that that is where you want him to be. 6-yard box. You want him
Yeah.
to be there, ready
Well,
for if that ball does get across. He's
yeah.
there. Because there's
I
so
just want to see more of that.
there's probably, you could probably count between 10 and 15 times,
Hmm.
even in the last sort of 10 games, where that ball has gone across and he's not there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it is
So
frustrating.
it's sort of, it is frustrating, but I mean, I'm hoping, that it'll spur him on to kind of keep performing in that way.
For sure. Hmm.
And yeah, hopefully we can push forward and get some more goals.
Well, couple of comments in here, Josh. Just while we've got people are watching. So Sakalaka Boom Boom, great name. Um, but he's just putting it. Do you like that one, Josh?
Yeah, love it.
So psychological advantage. He said we only have 2 away games. City Brentford away from the top 10 left. Interesting, or as a top 10 as it stands. But I mean, City's a big game, isn't it? That's a big one. But it
It's a
depends
big game,
how
and it's also quite near
close
the
the
end of
gap.
the season, isn't it? I think is
Yeah,
it sort of like the 4th game before last
I believe so.
of the
Which will
season,
be.
something like that. So,
I think we'll know by then if
by
we're done or
by
not.
that point, we would like to think that we'd either have it wrapped up,
Hmm.
in that, if we did lose to them, then we should still go on and win it,
Yeah,
or get completely wrapped up. Hopefully,
yeah,
we can
well,
actually.
truly clear. And that's part of the kind of this really, because there's been a lot of people before the Aston Villa game, a lot of people kind of losing their shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
And that was a huge part. I mean, I was like, the Nottingham Forest game was probably the worst game I've seen them play this season. And I do think, and I've put on social medias, and I chucked in grenades yesterday, Josh, in social media about, don't just blame Arteta. I think there's an element of so many games, tired players. We've played a lot of away games. Literally, there's a game every 2-3 days of like travelling to and from. There's an element of people shout, yeah, he's got a squad, he can rotate more. But, a few people
yeah,
say,
but we
well,
haven't. I mean, people go on about our squad. Yes, we've got an amazing squad, but we are pretty depleted at the back.
uh-huh,
And obviously, Big Gabby's only really just come back from injury. Saliba's had his own sort of injury concerns. And I do sort of feel like, especially in the Forest game, they looked so sort of fatigued, didn't they? They looked like
yeah,
none. I mean, even someone like Declan Rice, who you kind of can count on for that energy and being box to box, he just looked like he wasn't really at the
mm,
races, um, and
yeah,
all you can put that down to is, yeah, the schedule, the fact that even though we've got this massive squad, we've got so many injuries that people are having to play probably a few more minutes. It's probably only up the top now, now Havertz and Jesus are back, that you've kind of got them options up top, but defensively in that kind of midfield in terms of Rice and Zubamendi, they're having to play so many more minutes that they are going to get fatigued. They are going to
yeah.
have the odd game where they're not quite, you know, Ballon d'Or winners. Um,
No. And we have had
you know,
many games like this. We've got the stuff we've missed, but not to that degree of when you think,
yeah,
come
yeah.
on, guys,
And
like
do you know
kick
what?
on.
We've always struggled against a Sean Dyche team.
True.
They
Yeah.
we've when he was at Everton, when he was at Burnley,
Mhm.
obviously now Forest, like we've struggled against them because of the way they set up. So actually, away a draw, it's not. I mean, I know they're 17th or whatever they are, or 16th, but it's not a bad result. It's not.
No. I mean, I think it massively helps. And then when you go, we've overblown it. Aston Villa lost to Everton 1-0,
Yeah,
and you just go, oh, we're
yeah,
actually worked out better than we
yeah,
expected. We're now
yeah,
7 points
yeah,
to the
yeah.
6, and you think
Exactly.
it could have been 4, and you
Obviously,
go,
obviously,
wow.
it would have been nice to have, um, to have gone nine points clear of both of them. But it is what it is. We're still 7 points clear. That's a nice at this time of year. That is
Mm-hmm.
exactly where we would want to be. If someone said that to me at the beginning of the season, we'd be 7 points clear at
Any
nearly the
day
end
long.
of January. Um, I'd be going, yeah, brilliant.
Take it. And I suppose things you don't know the journey then, do you? And all the things that go with it. And it is a roller coaster every season, what changes, all that kind of stuff. But I want to go into the stats a little bit on the game as well. But there's a couple of comments I want to make sure we read out as we go, otherwise they'll get lost in them. But so Zimmerman22, thanks for your comments, mate. We'll get to both of those. He says we need to put the real Sociedad midfield, Zubi, Odi, and Marino in. I mean, I think Zuberman has been playing great. I think Marino deserves to actually be playing a little bit more. I don't think Odegaard, obviously, he had a bad couple of games, so there's a lot of talk about him as well going, does he need a rest? Do you keep playing him? You've still got the Eze's on the bench, but I've got calls for him maybe coming out on the left, trying that out because the 10's not been great. He's been invisible. But I think we need to try and get Eze back in because, he come on and he had an opportunity. Like there was quite a few chances we had, but his first touch was pretty much, he fluffed it like bouncing in, and it was just like he needs to be playing more. He's too good a player not to be. At least rotating and give him some more minutes because that's the first time we've really seen him recently. But with the stats, mate, and there is one more comment to Zimmerman 22 as well. So he said, to be honest, the last game results was not surprising to me. When the pressure is on, we always fall short. No surprise here. And it's an interesting comment because I think we play better playing first. We've played second. We knew the result. It's almost a bit like, okay, cool, no problem at all. But I think if we play first, we've gone out. We know we've got to do it. We're not sitting back. We're not knowing the results of what happened in City. And there's an element of that going, it's not the end of the world, is it? Like,
I can see why people would have that opinion, but I feel like that's listening too much to rival fans with the whole bottle job thing. I think it's I mean, last season we didn't bottle it. It was just that Liverpool ran away with it.
Yeah,
we just drew too many games. Them games that we drew last season, we won this season. So that's the difference.
The difference. Yeah, it was injuries last year was big as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that obviously teams like Liverpool, especially, have dropped so many points that they're kind of out of the title race. Even though obviously mathematically they're not. And I just think there's this big thing with it's like as soon as like the fact that City lost, right? I know it was a Manchester derby, but they lost 2-0. I mean, I actually thought it was 3-0 because obviously they had a goal disallowed, didn't they? Sort of late on. But they lost 2-0 and nobody seems to really be talking about it. Everyone's even though we're 7 points clear because we drew, nobody's talking about the fact that City keep on losing. They're all still going, oh no, they'll come good. They'll claw it back.
They put a run
it's
together.
Just simply because nobody wants Arsenal to win it. Apart from Arsenal fans. True. Nobody wants us to win it. Nobody wants us to do well. But it is like that for other teams as well. Like, I must say, nobody wanted Liverpool to win it, but they, it was the same scenario for them in terms of like people were going, oh, City have had a bad season, which is why Liverpool won it. Well, no, give them, they've still got to go out and win the games. They've still got to go out and win the league. It's the same for us. We've still got to go out and win our games. It's in our hands. Like, if we do end up losing it from this point, I would probably go, okay, maybe there is an issue there in terms of, the psychological fact of we haven't won a tournament. We haven't won the league in so long. But it's simply, I just sort of, it really grinds my gears, this whole sort of like everyone, like the media especially, they all love Pep Guardiola so much. He's done amazing things, but he's also spent like £5 billion since he's been there. Do you know what I mean? And there's a quote I see the other day actually about when he was at Barcelona, saying about it's a shame that these teams spend all this money on buying the big players when they could promote the youth and stuff like that. And you sort of think he does promote youth, so hats off to him. He's brought a lot of youth players through. But at the same time, he's also spent £5 billion. So
you said, I see a quote, Josh, as well, was like difference in teams. Like someone's injured, bring a youth player through or bring them up, like you said. But and in Pep's like, now just buy someone. It's fine. We'll just stick 50 million on. You know, who have they bought in the January window straight away? You got Mark Gahey, which is a fantastic buy. I was kind of hoping he would wait till the summer and come to us, or Liverpool. I was thinking more Liverpool, but I thought if we got him, I thought it was interesting.
Well, I mean,
I was thinking,
I'm really surprised that Liverpool didn't go for him again, because obviously he was pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered. You know, he had photos done and everything, hadn't he, up at Anfield?
man,
And then it obviously fell through at the last minute, and then they've not. It doesn't even sound like they even were that bothered about going for him. And now he's at City.
bizarre.
It's like, you know, it just sort of winds me up really with this whole City thing. Like,
do you think we should have acted on that? Do you think we should have maybe looked at it?
No. I mean, as much as I like him as a defender and as a player, I feel like defensively, okay, we've struggled with injuries again this season, but we have got a big enough squad really to, you know. And then I think you have got that danger, haven't you, of, you know, like that young kid Marley Salmon. You know, I like him, and he looks, you know, decent. You know, hopefully he gets a few more minutes here and there. You know, Champions League. You know, we've got Kairat, haven't we, in a few weeks or whatever, haven't we? So, you know, that might be a perfect opportunity to either start him or at least give him some minutes.
I mean, they should heavily rotate in that one. I'd imagine. You
know, well, yeah. I mean, not only because we should hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, we're going to watch it together tomorrow, aren't we? But you know, if we can get a result, we can get a result there at the San Siro, then then I think we should really heavily rotate and give a few people a rest, because, you know, they're all big games coming up, aren't they? They're all I just going back to Gay, I think he's a good player, but does he, you know, he's a left-sided centre defender, isn't he? So, you know,
Gabriel,
is he you know, Big Gabby, is he better? Yeah, in my opinion, yes. Would he be a good replacement if Gabby's out? Of course he would, but I just feel like there wasn't necessary to go out and spend, you know, obviously we'd have had to have bought him for that sort of money as well. I just
about 35-40, wasn't
it? Yeah. I just don't know if that would have really been worth it in the long run.
I think Crystal Palace had to, really, because they would have got nothing for him, I assume, in the summer, because he was end of contract.
Yeah, he was going for a free, wasn't he? Yeah, he'd been out of contract.
It makes sense from
I feel a bit sorry for him, really, because, you know, that Glasner, I think he's a good manager. He's done wonders for them. Obviously, they lost Eze to us, and then they've lost Mark Gay, like arguably their two best players. And you know, they're still in Europe. You know, they've still got European football, and it's sort of like they're going to struggle, aren't they? You know, if they're not going to reinvest that money, what do you do? But
I mean, I just think that I can see Crystal Palace as a club just dropping off for a little bit and being down in the middle, bottom of the table. To be honest with you, after they've done, you know, had an incredible couple of seasons, it's almost a shame. You know, they've lost the Ezes, you've lost Mark Gahey now, and, you know, who's left? Mateta's probably going to go because he's probably going to get the ump, and, you know.
There's talk of him going to Juventus, I think, isn't it? I think they were, you know, inquiring about him. You know, and they're all, you know, that's what we need to, I think, be good at as well, is finding these players throughout sort of Europe or even the world, you know, sort of. And acting a little bit quicker. I feel like maybe because we have sort of built this squad now, which a lot of people are sort of admiring, that they might think, oh, we can sort of rest on our laurels almost and just be sort of like, no, we've got it. You know, we've got this team. This is what's going to do. But again, if we do fall short, then
maybe it'll allow us to bring in some more of these kind of players. But then you look at Mascara, you know, like obviously he's injured, but he was in the squad. He's coming back and stuff. We bought him
well
for
when he did play.
peanuts. Yeah, and he'd
Yeah.
go, well, actually come through, and are we going to become that kind of then selling? We're not a selling club, I know, but like, are we going to try and get better at selling? There's always rule changes and what we can spend, all that kind of stuff. So I think we're at a point where we've got a team, with Saka re-signing a contract until his next 5 years, all that kind of stuff. So we've probably got a solid team, and the ages are like that mid 20s, 24, 27 is the bulk of them. So we've got a solid
Yeah.
squad, and eventually you're going
Yeah.
to filter people out. And then Andrea Berta obviously is a different element that we haven't had until this summer. So I'll be interested to see. We're seeing a lot more youth investment. They're
Yeah.
twins, like we said before, and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. We're going to push those through either to sell them or they're going to come first team. And that'll be interesting. We're going to start spinning stuff like that as a club,
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
more money on transfers, because we've never been good at it, realistically, forever. Because we
No.
buy stuff, we eventually ship them out when they're too old, and we don't really see much back. So it's
Yeah.
always investment. So that'd be interesting, mate. But couple
Yeah.
of comments, Josh. Couple of comments,
Yeah.
mate, quickly. So Zimmerman 22. Let's have a look what he's saying here. So, as many would say, Arsenal has that championship mentality. I don't think we're there yet, based on the last game we've played. I think it's tricky. I think that's why we need to win the league. I think that's why we need to win something to get past that point of having these kind of comments, I think, as well. Because until we've done it, and we've done it in the past, but obviously, for Arteta himself, and quite annoying stat that come up on the Nottingham Forest game, we didn't have a shot on target for the first time since Arteta's first game in 2019. I don't know if you heard that one, Josh, because I love a stat, Yeah, so since his first game, it's the first time he's not had a shot on target in the first 45 minutes. And I was like, that's not
Right.
great, is it? So bizarre. But we had plenty of chances. And then Zimmerman said the only positive thing, Aston Villa lost, that's it. But I think I'm going to touch on it because I've written down a couple of chances that we had Nottingham Forest was, which we could have changed the game, and we could have a different kind of how we're talking about it, because we didn't lose it. We still got a point. We're still 7 points, but we could have put our chances away. So Martinelli's shot across the goal was probably the big one. You would look back at it, and that was the one where it kind of rolled across. Cells almost come kind of near post because you didn't know which way to go.
Yeah.
Covering
Yeah.
both, and it just
I mean,
trickled past. But
in my eyes, he'd done the right thing in terms of trying to go across the goalkeeper.
agreed.
But if you look at the replay, it comes off his heel. So I don't think he meant to hit it off his heel. But
Yeah.
he's mishit it basically.
Yeah.
But he's done the right thing in terms of going back across the goalie. That
And
was a
normally
frustrating
he
one.
has them all day long, So he's been much more prolific this season in finishing his chances. To be fair to him, more in
Yeah.
Europe maybe. But Gyökeres, I mean, the Murillo mistake was quite a big one, and I was like, come on, Gyökeres, this is your bread and butter. He had a couple of feet. He slipped. Murillo missed the ball and slipped, and he still managed to catch up and put a challenge in, which was really frustrating. And I do think Gyökeres, he should be putting that away. Declan Rice had a bit of a half kind of volley, which again bounced and it wasn't quite. He lost a bit of power in it. I mean, the Saka header, you had a really good header from, but Sells had a phenomenal save. To be fair, couldn't quite see it fingertip, but pushed it out the way.
Yeah, I mean the header didn't have a lot of power on it, did it? But it was good direction.
It kind of floated up and over.
And I think from one angle, it looked like Sells was unsighted in terms of, but when you actually then see it from sort of his point of view, he wasn't unsighted at all. So I think he made that save look a lot better than it was.
But fair enough. I think Marino was quite close for a header, but it just went wide as well.
Yeah.
And then Eze, like I mentioned earlier, just come on and it kind of bounced up too, and he kind of missed it, and then it kind of went out. And that's when the handball, Josh. I know we said on the text. Now you've seen it back a few times. What are you saying?
I can see it from both sides in terms of why it wasn't given. If that was against us, I'd have been absolutely fuming. But at the same time, there is an element of his arm has moved towards the ball. Regardless of the fact that it's hit his shoulder first, his arms then moved to keep the ball in. Because he didn't want it going out for a corner, which it went out for a corner anyway. And you sort of think they're the sort of ones that you sort of go, well, you're a bit stupid, really, aren't you?
I know. When I saw it, I genuinely thought, I was like, we're gonna get a penalty, and then we commented and stuff, and I was a bit like, again, I was a bit like you. I would have hated it to get against this, but I was thinking, surely that's something we can you know, come on, like finish the game. Let's get this
Well,
done. We should be
especially with
winning.
the way VAR has been recently, you wouldn't have put it against them to. But then I think that's in a way that's why it wasn't given. I think in a way that's why the what was it, the goal against the Ben White goal against Chelsea, that wasn't given for offside. I mean, in my eyes, it wasn't offside because if anything, their player is pushing Gyökeres, who was in an offside position. He's sort of handling him and pushing him in the way. So, he's not even got his eyes on the ball. But they're the sort of ones that most, again, rival fans will go, oh, that's blatant. That's a blatant offside. That was given the other day against Haaland or whatever for that Semenyo goal that got
Oh God, yeah,
disallowed.
that was quite bad. I thought. I mean, I didn't think that would have been, something that would.
Yeah.
I just thought it was harsh. I mean, that was one I was like, you can't get. How can you give that as offside? I was really
but I think
surprised.
that's the trouble with VAR. It's so inconsistent. There's so many sort of big decisions that are going for and against, but wrongly, and it's just.
It is
I
frustrating.
think there's an element of that is ruining the game. It was brought in to make the game better in terms of more fair and almost taking away that human element of it. But at the same time, it's meant to be an obvious error from whether it be the linesman or the referee. It's meant to be an obvious error. So yeah. And I still don't understand why sometimes the linos they flag for offside, and then other times they don't flag for offside, even though it's quite obviously offside. But they let the game play because it's almost like they're waiting for VAR to come in. It's like, well, what are you even there for? Is there much point in having
What's
them
the
there?
point of view? Because
Yeah,
they're literally you're pointless. Let a computer do it if you can't put a flag
yeah,
up. And then what annoys me is then if a player goes through, keeper and them clash, someone gets injured, you could have stopped that by just putting your
yeah.
flag up,
You
doing
could
your
have stopped
job.
that from happening. Yeah,
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 and,
because it was
and
so
that's
obvious. And then there's other times
ridiculous.
where it's actually quite tight, but because it's so far back, like close to the halfway line, but it's quite tight, and they flag and they blow straight away.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you're
mate, it's
like, well,
frustrating.
surely you should have let that go.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, and that's the
again,
problem. It's the
it's
consistency.
just the inconsistencies that you kind of
Yeah.
think, like, what's going on here?
Exactly that, man. And that's the whole thing. Through since VAR has come in, referees have got even worse. They're not great in the first place. I mean, we've got Michael Oliver's not our biggest fan. He's obviously paid off by City or whatever we said before.
Well, I
Because
think the trouble is with these referees that a lot of them, whether they intentionally do it or not, they try and make the game about them. They try and
oh yeah,
make, like, do you know what I mean? They try and
we need a
dictate,
headline.
and you sort of go back to like when I first started watching, well, not when I first started watching football, but sort of when I really understood the game and stuff like that. And you had like the Kalina, the Italian, the bald bloke. Like, he was
Oh, it was unreal.
amazing. He
No
was an
one messed with
amazing
him.
referee. Like, everyone
Yeah.
respected him. Like,
Hmm.
I don't ever remember him sort of doing anything wrong.
No, it was unreal.
And as much as, obviously he's a bit different to look at, um, but he never made it about him. Do you know what I mean? It was, he just let the game flow,
Yeah.
and he made the right decisions when he had to. But where are
It
them
was.
sort of referees gone? Like, I just feel like they're all prima donnas or bloody nonces or something. Do you know what I
It's
mean?
unfortunate, yeah. And that's all come out. But I think,
Yeah,
like I always find the European refs, I like the Champions League. The refereeing's generally better, and I think we'll see tomorrow, Josh. I think, the plan is for tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to do a watch along. I
yeah.
sort of said we should talk about probably earlier on than this, but we'll stick it on anyway tomorrow. Record ourselves watching watching the game and to see how. I mean, I'm fully expecting to knowing
Oh, a
Arteta
lot
to go
of
strong.
that.
Yeah, it'll be like a boring 0-0 game. We're like, for fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
yeah, yeah.
But I think, I do think it will go quite heavy because I don't think he wants to lose that in Europe as well. He's got quite a big stature. It's good for him. He should be
Yeah,
rotating because it doesn't really. It doesn't mean much. You can probably beat this Kairat team anyway. So if you fuck up here, you can go and, go there and beat them. So it shouldn't be an issue. but I can see him still going pretty strong, mate. But it depends who's
I
fit.
can, because I just feel like as well we need that momentum, don't we? Of, obviously we've won every game in the Champions League
Yeah.
so far this season.
A great
in
record.
this, and which it is. And if we can carry that on, I think that really does hold us in good stead. I know in theory it doesn't actually matter, because you think last season Liverpool finished first in the league phase, and then they got knocked out in the next round to PSG, who were the eventual winners. But I think if they didn't win every game, so it wasn't like they finished top and they were the absolute bomb. It was like I say, if we can do that, I think it really sends a good message and statement, and it's good for your confidence at the end of the day, and especially the forward players. But I think all players, they all rely on their confidence. As soon as that confidence goes, that's when you notice sort of little slip ups here and there, and silly mistakes.
What did you think? What do you think, Josh? Of you see the Rice? Obviously, there's been a couple of things for Rice. Obviously, there's a bit of an altercation in the tunnel, I think, with the assistant manager.
Chelsea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's had that little tiff and a little cuddle at the end. It was all good, I think. But obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But then there was someone at the end of the Nottingham Forest game, and he was just like, he was effing and blinding. He was like, "What have we like? We've done it again," and he was quite upset visibly, knowing that you're on camera.
Again, I think. Well, I think his comments were that was fucking shit every fucking time.
Yeah.
Is the words that he actually said, and you sort of think people are just reading into that so much of like he's basically saying that we've bottled things, and it's like no, he hasn't. He hasn't. We've literally what he's saying is we've gone away to a team that we should win. Yes, we know that City have lost earlier in the day, so it's our chance to capitalise. And he's just frustrated. He's frustrated that we've let that slip, and quite rightly so. They should be frustrated. They should be angry. They should be, That's exactly what the fans are saying, because it's annoying.
I think we all pretty much said that, and we're like, for fuck, worst game we've seen all season. And they're doing probably a bad game, but it's I think it is frustration.
I think that's the difference, though, isn't it? When you've got when teams like in championship winning teams, they don't play great all season. They go through spells of normally a championship winning side will go through one spell throughout a season where they have a little blip, should we say, or they're not playing well. But if you can still get results, and a draw is a result, regardless of what you think about it, it is a result. You haven't lost. So you haven't walked away with nothing. You've walked away with a point. Yeah, so that's still got us. And the fact that our two closest teams behind us both lost, and they lost, right? I think everyone's blowing things out of proportion a little bit, to be honest with you.
That's true. And the
overreaction. I think that, but unfortunately, everyone's under the microscope, aren't they? Of as soon as you're in that sort of bracket above everyone else, that's when they start, picking little holes and doing these, like getting, lip sync people that can, read what they're saying. And do you know what I mean? It's just like, give it over.
They always speak like that.
Yeah, that's why everyone does this.
Yeah.
But it's just it's one of them. There was a conversation me and my father-in-law have had before where we've said about like certain tiffs within like teams, like the players have had like tiffs with other players and stuff like that. And it's like, when you think about it, I mean, I'm self-employed and a builder, so I don't really have this issue anymore. But I have worked for companies where you've got several, people like employees. You might be their manager or whatever, or you might have a manager and there's like a load of you. You don't always get on with everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like as nice as it would be to get on with everyone, you're going to have a difference of opinion on certain things. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing for footballers at the end of the day. Like they're not all going to be best of mates. All I would say is that with this Arsenal team, we do seem to be very cohesive and kind of They all seem to, be singing off the same song sheet, as opposed to, a few other teams. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I think no, I think you're right, mate. I think if anything, there was the minor cracks of a little bit of pressure over the last couple of games. I think we've seen with Rice, with the Saka and Gyökeres potential thing, which I don't think is anything like we touched on earlier. But there's things. There's going to be an element of pressure. They're paying a hell of a lot of money to perform a simple task in the sense of they've got the skills and the skill set to do this. And you think there's going to be sometimes people are going to have a go because your expectations and our expectations, fans are up here, and the players they want to kind of reach out. They know, they look at all the social media. They might even watch
yeah,
this, you never know, but they know what people are thinking, saying all the time. And I think
yeah,
Arsenal of all teams, we're under so much pressure. And like you say, people aren't that are in the circles moaning about, oh, Man City lost. You just don't hear it. You're not hearing it
yeah.
on radio
No,
or Talk Sport or anything. It's all about, well, so Arsenal have kind of missed an opportunity, haven't they? Because this and this have lost. And you go, but
yeah.
what we talk about them is all
Yeah, why don't we
about
talk about them actually
Arsenal.
losing another loss? We've
It's
we've lost
mad.
twice. I think City have lost 5 times this season,
Yeah, but no one talks about it, Josh.
but
It's
no
so
one's
interesting,
sort
isn't
of
it?
talking about it. Apart from the odd time they might go, "Oh, the Premier League this season's been such a bad standard that's the reason why Arsenal are going to end up winning it." Well, no, that's
Mm,
not the reason. If anything, it's the most competitive. It is
mm.
well, it is the most competitive league in the world, I think, in
Yeah.
terms of from top to bottom. I mean, Wolves have got what 5 point? No, they've got more than that, haven't they? They've
8
got
points. I'm
eight,
just looking at
eight.
it, funnily enough.
Yeah,
8 points.
8 points, and they they could still beat any team in the league. Like any team
Mm.
could go to them and lose. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mate, they weren't a bad side. When we played them, Josh, I was a bit like, oh,
Well,
okay.
no, and they've had some good sort of spells, if you know what I mean. In terms of, I think their points tally is a bit misleading, really, as to
Yeah.
what sort of team they are. But yeah, I just think it's the most competitive league in the world, and if anything, that's why you see the top teams drop points here and there. They're not going to.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's going to
exactly.
happen.
It's going to happen.
And what I mean, you mean, we've got to talk about it. Tottenham. Oh my God. I work with a guy at Tottenham fan and the West Ham fan who was like, oh, we've got to win. Both of them, we've got to win this because, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
West Ham have been
yeah,
in having an awful season. And I'm really pleased for West Ham, obviously, just
yeah. Yeah.
because, they're not been great. But my friend at work, he literally said today, he went, I think we're in a relegation battle now. He's it's seriously, I was
Well,
like,
there is that
well, it's
danger of that. I mean, obviously they were kind of in it last season as well. It was
yeah,
only,
that
I
was
just,
close. They're
I
really
just
close.
don't
I mean, they're
understand it.
15th.
I really don't understand it in terms of. I rate Thomas Frank as a manager. There's a lot of, I know there's a lot of Spurs fans, and I hear people like Jamie O'Hara and that on Talk Sport, like going, "Oh, he's got to go. He's not good enough." Like
Yeah.
for a team like Spurs, and it's like, well, why not? You finished 17th, no, 16th, whatever last season.
Mm.
Um, yeah, okay, you won in Europe, but it's like a bit of a joke cup, isn't it?
It was a weird situational round. You're very lucky,
And you played Man United, which is kind of like at that point was a given.
the
Um,
worst Man United in years. Yeah,
yeah,
well played.
yeah,
But it's bizarre. But West Ham are creeping up out of that, hole. I mean, so Burnley obviously drew with Liverpool. I don't know how your
yeah,
father-in-law
yeah.
felt about
Which
that.
again's another weird one, isn't it? Obviously
Yeah.
Liverpool. They're still unbeaten in like what is it, 11 games or something like that. But they're basically all draws. There's like about
Last
two
four
wins
games
in
are
there.
draws. Yeah,
Yeah,
last four games. So they've
but
drawn against
they're still fourth,
Burnley,
aren't they? I think
us.
they're still fourth.
Yeah, they're still sitting fourth by 1 point. Man United are just behind them, 35 points. And I mean, Man United, Chelsea are all kind of in there, including
Yeah,
Brentford, Newcastle, Sunderland still, Everton. That top 10, even top 11, is still very close. Again, you're one win away from being fourth, fifth, sixth. Still
yeah,
really, and again, really competitive. In that middle, just
yeah,
because we've got a bit of a buffer at the moment, but the rest of the league, top, bottom, middle, it's all competitive all round. It's just that
Yeah,
different people are in different kind of elements, and at the moment. But I'm thinking like Leeds, I think have been playing really well, and they've got themselves kind of further
yeah.
away. They're just behind Tottenham by a couple of points. And I mean, who are they playing next? So Everton, Leeds, who are Tottenham playing? Burnley. I mean, Burnley. Burnley are buzzing, So they're playing a Burnley at home to Tottenham in the next game. So that's on the 24th. So yeah, brilliant. I just think it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I feel sorry for Thomas Frank. I do like him as a manager, but you can see him getting sacked very quickly just because
Yeah, I mean, he's
they're
quite
calling the
obviously an
blood.
Arsenal fan as well, isn't he? So
Clearly, he got the cup,
yeah,
mate.
he's
The
he's
amount
got
of
the cup.
memes.
He mentioned the Invincibles at the beginning of the season, didn't he?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, he's hilarious, mate. I don't think he maybe realised the severity of it. Seriously, like,
I don't know about that. I feel like sometimes these managers they kind of know, don't they? And they go, right, well, if it don't work out and I get the sack, I still get a few million in my pocket. So does it really
True.
matter?
Maybe join the thought. I'll start doing it now. Yeah, the Arsenal's really good. Great Invincibles. You will never do that. Oh, give me unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. But I think interesting fixtures ahead. But obviously we've got Inter. I think again we'll see what happens tomorrow. So if
Yeah,
you're watching
yeah.
now, me and Josh are literally going to watch along with everyone. If you want to join in, comment, all that stuff. Literally going to be us putting faces, reacting, but it should be fun. And then obviously the next big game we've got. So we've got Man United coming up, Joshua.
Which is that
On
is a big game because obviously they're going to
Yeah,
be riding high as it were off the back
off the
of
back of that,
and
100%.
obviously them not being in Europe and stuff like that. They get a rest for over a week, don't they?
Yeah. Luckily it's Sunday, so we're okay.
Yeah.
4:30. So at
Oh
least we
yeah,
do have
yeah.
a
No, I'm
decent
not.
break.
Yeah, yeah. I just think as well with the fact that it's Carrick. Carrick, obviously, they when he was last interim manager or whatever caretaker manager there, he beat us, didn't he? And I just feel like they might play on that a bit, and again, the media will as well
Of course
because
they
Man
will.
United they're such a massive club. All this bollocks. Um, it's like they're back, and I think it'd be so good just to like silence them. Do you know what I mean? Just
Mm,
absolutely spank them.
yeah, it would be good to
Whether or
shut
not
them up.
that happens, I don't know, but it'd be bloody lovely, wouldn't it? Be
Yeah, it's
bloody
always a
lovely
big
for them to
game,
come to the
regardless.
Emirates and us, walk away with a 4-0 or something like that. That would
Yeah.
be
Well, mate, we haven't lost at home, have we? Like until
no,
don't
no,
know when. I don't even know the last time we lost at home.
yeah. But
But yeah,
again, I've mentioned it a few times on here, and I had the conversation with my father-in-law at the weekend. Um, we're everyone's cup final, so they're
mm,
going to turn up as they did against City. I mean, I sort of
of
saw
course.
bits of the game, and they were the better side. They fully deserved the win.
Yeah,
But you've got that issue potentially against us, where they're going to want to come there and beat us as well.
yeah.
And
Mate, bring it
Carrick's
on.
going to obviously try and do that. Yeah, bring it on. But I mean, I think we're more than capable of giving them a good hiding.
Mm.
It's just whether or
No,
not we'll turn up on the day.
yeah. I think
Just
time will
just
tell.
need
I
to
think
take our chances more. We just need to be more clinical. I think.
mm,
Um, I mean, for as much as Saka's done. He's always a threat, and he's created quite a lot of chances and goals and stuff, but he's not scored as many this season. It'd be nice for him
no.
to get a couple of goals, and obviously Gyökeres, it'd be good for him to get a goal. Um,
I'm just looking
yeah,
at goals actually. So because I think Trossard, Victor Gyökeres in the Premier League 5 apiece. Then Saka's on 4, 3 assists. I mean Trossard's got 4 assists. He's our leader at the moment on goal contributions completely on that side, which is
yeah,
quite it is impressive in fairness what he's done.
yeah.
I'm
I
just
mean,
having
he's
a look
really
in
stepped
midfield.
up this season, hasn't he? He really has.
Yeah, I mean Declan's 4 and 4. Zubimendi 3 and 1. I mean, they were saying when Ben White scored, there were so many goal scorers amongst the team. I can't remember the number, but it was a stupid number of people who have scored throughout.
Yeah,
Eze's on 4. And he hasn't played that much really. Mourinho's got 3 and 3 goals and assists. So, but it's the Odegaard question. I think is the question mark at the moment. Do we keep going? It's just been a bad couple of games. It'll
yeah.
be
I mean,
interesting.
I've got an idea. whether or not Arteta knows this as well.
Have you shared it with him?
Yeah,
Have
I
you
haven't
told
shared it
him?
with him, unfortunately.
Text him, mate.
No. I'll message
Go
him
on.
later.
Hit me. I'm
No,
all ears.
I feel like Eze should start against Inter Milan. I just feel like Odegaard needs a bit of a little reset, and I feel like he'd possibly be a better player against United at the weekend. And yeah, he's only just come back from injury. He did run, into a good bit of form just before the Liverpool game, and then he's dropped off. But at the same time, like you said earlier, I don't know if that. Well, they're different players, aren't they? Even in that 10 role, I think Odegaard is very much down that right hand side, teaming up
Mm-hmm.
with Timber or Ben White and Saka, and I feel like as is more of he goes across the whole front three. Do you know what I mean? He just drifts
Yeah.
and kind of. That's when you then see him. He'll pop up more on the left, and he'll cut in and he'll have a shot and stuff like that. And that's where he becomes more effective.
Yeah. It's like, well, okay, if we let's just go through the team. I'm gonna pick my 11 for this game and see which way they go, because I do think there's elements of a bit. Ben White's been playing well, but he's played. Do you play him in another game? Do you save him for United? Do you put Timber back right and bring in Lewis Skelly? I think the centre two is not going to change. Raya's going to be in goal. Saliba, Gabriel in the middle. Raya.
Yeah, agreed.
I could see Timber going back right and Lewis Skelly coming in for this, possibly. Then I think in mid, I think Zubi still plays, but you could get Norgard in there genuinely, because we need a little bit of rotation, but it'll be interesting to see. Rice, I kind of think needs a rest, but I think maybe Marino and then maybe Eze, and then genuinely Eze. Then let's mix it up. Noni could come in for Saka, but I think Saka didn't play as much because supposedly he had a little bit of a knock, but he played the last half hour. But I could see Saka starting just to have that threat there.
Yeah,
I do think Jokovic will go in the middle. I still think he'll play him. And I think then you've got the choice between Martinelli and Trossard. But I think Martinelli started, so Trossard back on the left. I think kind of in my head, that's how I think it will line up. And I think obviously we're going to rotate throughout the game. So Martinelli's going to come in. Jesus will come on. You might see a Havertz maybe come in the middle for Marino or something like that, or Eze potentially to play that false C9. And that's how I see it. I don't see much different to that, really. Agree? Disagree?
I would personally, if you want my rundown,
Mate, go for it.
Yeah, I'd be Raya, Saliba, and Big Gabby. I think he will carry on with Ben White at right back and Timber at left back. Although I could potentially see Lewis Skelly there, but I think he'll still start Ben White out and potentially rest Timber. And have him on the bench, obviously, as one to come in. Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze. And I think Trossard, Saka, and Gyökeres.
Yeah,
just because I feel like Martinelli's a lot better off the bench. Obviously, with his pace, it's something that, when the players have been running around for 60, 70 minutes and he comes on, it's like, oh, shit.
he's always a good one to come on like that for that reason alone. How many times he's done it in Europe? Played, like I say, 45 minutes, scores a goal.
Yeah. And I think also to our kind of benefit in a way, I think Inter Milan have always kind of been like this rock solid, classic Italian defending sort of team. But I think they've changed a little bit over the last sort of few years.
Definitely,
I don't see him as that. Like, I feel like there's quite a few holes there that we can capitalise on.
I think we could beat them. I don't think they're the team as they have been, even though they're top of their league and stuff, aren't they? As far as I'm aware, but they're not.
But there's a lot. There's quite a few teams that are, it seems to alternate week after week. There's a few teams that have got like a game in hand and stuff like that on them. But yeah,
I might check it out in a minute. But I've got a couple of questions. So
Yep.
Sakalaka Boom Boom, because I know you love the name.
Love him. Yeah.
He said it's impressive that we are top of the league even after no player in the top 15 goal scorers, and it is true. We aren't relying on one person like a Haaland, to score a goal, and it's always been this way, isn't it? Realistically, like when I've seen it, we scored the most goals not last season, the year before. We scored the most goals, most points we ever got, still come second, but the
Yeah.
goals are always spread across everyone, and that's still continued. Well, the idea in my head this summer was Gyökeres was to come in to be the point of the spear to score more goals, but it's still at the moment he's just taking people away and people are still scoring, but. And we're still super deadly on the set pieces. Ole ole. It's still happening. Ole ole. But I think it
Yeah,
is.
I think it
I
is.
much
I
like
think it
that.
is quite impressive. The fact that we do share the goals around. But I would still like to see us have like a proper. We haven't really had anyone since Aubameyang. Really, he was probably our last like goal scorer. But obviously he's different to your Gyökeres's. But
He made things happen, didn't he? He just,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Henrys of the world, and you created a goal. There's nothing happening. I'm going to take the ball and run and take on a few players
Yeah,
and score a
yeah.
goal.
I must admit, I mean, before obviously I came to the Emirates with you for the North London Derby, I hadn't been in probably nearly 20 years. And my fond memories of I used to go like a couple of times a season because my uncle had season tickets, and I always used to remember watching Henri and sort of like you could tell sometimes he was a bit off or he wouldn't get the ball as much. He wouldn't see the ball, and you could see him getting in a bit of a huff and whatnot. But then he'd have that little spark of he'd just do something and make something happen.
Yeah.
There was the odd game where he didn't, and I think obviously some people forget about them sort of games. But yeah,
He didn't
he
score
was
for a while.
just that's just sometimes I feel like I don't think Gyökeres is that kind of player where he's going to suddenly create something out of nothing. Do you
No,
know what I mean? I just
he's
can't.
too bull in a China shop, and he's like we
Yeah,
know
he's a
his
bit
touch isn't
rigid, isn't
great.
he?
Yeah, his
Yeah,
speed. He's not as quick as
he's
the
not as
Murillo thing.
quick as I
Really
think they
bugs
sort
me.
of made out. Like they made out he was some sort of like lightning quick powerhouse. I mean, yeah, he's strong, but he's strong, but he doesn't seem to win a lot, does he? Like in terms of when the ball comes up to him, like Havertz, for instance. I mean, one of the players actually, he was one of my favourite players at the time, Giroud.
Oh yeah.
He used to win everything.
Mm.
Whenever that ball came up in the air, he'd win literally 9 times
He's
out of ten.
unreal.
He
Unbelievable.
would win. He would. It wouldn't matter who he was up against. He would win that ball, whether it be a flick on or holding it up. Controlling it like maybe with his head or chest first, and then bringing it down. Just play. That's what I would expect from someone like Gyökeres, and we're not getting that, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know if it's a confidence thing, or he's just not quite built for the Premier League. I don't know, which
No.
is a shame. It's a
It is a
shame because
shame.
obviously, we've obviously gone for this whole, let's get an out and out striker, and it's not quite come to fruition just yet. But
I
sometimes
mean,
it takes a season or two to, really bed back into the Premier League, and especially at that level that we're playing at.
I want to give him. He's got this season, and obviously, if we go and win the
Yeah,
league, it's because he's contributed. I know it's maybe not been like wow, he's changed the team, but there's been a contribution of taking more people away than scoring goals probably. But then give him till like Christmas next season. Let's see what happens. I think he's had time. He's
yeah,
had it in a pre-season, and then I think we can really kind of sort of judge and go, do we move
yeah,
on? Do
yeah,
we
yeah.
look in next summer? Not this summer, the summer after. I think if he hasn't really kicked on, I think it's time to go. All right, let's get looking. Or
Yeah.
someone's come through, but we're probably going to have to find out who's the next top thing, coming up and purchase then. But I've got two things though. Before we go on, we've got Vinny's asked about can we do player ratings on the Nottingham Forest game, but before we do that, because I think that'd be quite
I think
easy.
there's a lot of point though, is there? Because
No,
they're all like
it
a
wasn't great.
four slash
5 to 6
five.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It wasn't great all round, but then you got Saka. because it's what we've been talking about. Saka Laka Boom Boom. Agree. He said Alba and was on Henry-ish, creating something rather than always being fed or waiting, which is true. Yeah, exactly what we've been saying. It's what we may need someone a bit more creative who could just go, I'm going to take this because the game's shocking. I'm a game changer, and someone to go, right, I'm going to run with it and smash it in the net or take a shot or try and create something. Which
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
have got
It
that
doesn't
kind
have
of
to be solely on them either. I think
no,
it's your relationship with the other players, and I think this is the trouble with his relationship with the likes of Saka, even Trossard or Martinelli. That you don't see many like little 1-2s or working in triangles with
no,
Gyökeres, do you? I mean,
no.
aside from the Chelsea game, which was probably his best game for us this season, to be fair,
Yeah,
where
100%.
he actually set up the Zubimendi goal, so the ball came into him, he sort of flicked it. One thing I did notice, he is so right-footed,
Yeah.
he literally does not touch the ball with his left foot.
No, it's bizarre, isn't it? But then it'd be
Um,
like it's coming off the left to then like I suppose it's coming across goal, but you'd think he'd prefer going on the right channel. Like I don't know, if it was me, if I'm a
yeah,
right footer, I'd be then going across that way. That's just how my head. I'm no footballer by any means, but that's
yeah,
how
yeah,
I
yeah,
would kind of approach it. But yeah, prefers left, and you're just always trying to cut him, but you don't know where you're going to go. So they
yeah.
just take, and he
Exactly. It's
stops
too
him every
obvious,
time.
too
He
obvious,
runs
and
himself into trouble.
he's not quite clever enough to do that. Not in the Premier League anyway.
No, he's been found out of it. But it's interesting. I mean, the player ratings just for Vinny's sake, because I know we're obviously missing Vinny over on the forecast at the moment. But it's interesting. So, Josh, I use a company or a Flash Score is who I use to do kind of looking at games, who's coming up, all that sort of stuff. I'm going
Yeah,
to go through their ratings, players
yeah,
for Arsenal. So at the top of the ratings, interesting enough. So Declan Rice come out as an 8.1. They've surprised. This is their scores. I don't know how to score in it, but just to go through it. Madueke next at 7.2. Ben White 7. Gabriel 7. Marino 7. Saka 7. Drops to 6.9s for Martinelli, Saliba. Zubimendi's a 6.8. Odegaard's a 6.7. Trossard 6.5. Raya 6.4. Timber 6.4. He didn't play great. Eze
yeah,
didn't really get enough chance. 6.1. Gabriel Jesus 5.9. And then Gyökeres 5.9 as well. But again, that the problems there was our our strikers and stuff like that is the ones. But
yeah,
then your
yeah.
Rices of the world, I think when they're looking at accurate passes,
Yeah,
how
I
many
mean, I
touches
think
they've
that's
had,
probably
touches in boxes.
glamorizing his performance there. I mean, for me, Rice didn't do much wrong. It was just he just looked tired.
Yeah.
He just looked very, very tired. Um, yeah, but I would have said Ben White was our best player against them.
Yeah, I
Didn't
don't
really
think.
do
I
didn't really do anything
think I
wrong
just gave up.
defensively, and he did try to get forward, but
Yeah. No, I think I was just annoyed. I think by the game that I switched off and didn't think about who, because I was like, no one's man of the match or better player or
yeah,
any other
yeah,
day. I just think they all had a all round poor
yeah,
performance as a team, as a
yeah.
collective. I think no one stood out to me on the
I
day, but
think
that's it.
the
But
only thing that actually stood out to me was their midfielder, the English guy, Elliot Anderson.
yeah, there's a lot of talk about
I
him all
thought he
game.
had, yeah, I thought he had a very good game. And if anything, he was the reason why we couldn't find that breakthrough was because of him.
Mm,
Really, his work rate, breaking up the play. Yeah,
yeah, I think actually when you look at what they got, so Rice out of it is all players, with Rice then Elliot Anderson. They were the top two
yeah,
rating on that day. He's 7.7 to Rice's 8.1. I don't really know, maybe because Rice had a shot, so that maybe pushed him ahead because Anderson had slightly more accurate passes, more touches, but not any touches in the opponent's other half. No, he
yeah,
didn't have any successful dribbles, Anderson, where Rice had one successful dribble out of 100%. Anderson had two and weren't successful, so it maybe scored him a little bit less. But that's the
yeah,
difference. So there's not much in
yeah,
it, but it was promising when you're looking ahead to the World Cup. They're going to be playing together realistically,
yeah, yeah,
those two. So that's quite exciting, and I am starting to sort of look forward a little bit to it. Although I think Trump's going to, ban every team apart from America to go in the final or something like that. So it'll
yeah.
be interesting to see what that actually happens because it's ridiculous. So I just
Multi-ball.
yeah, it'll just be it's like this is he's playing this ball, isn't he?
Yeah,
Um, But I think, but we've got tomorrow night, mate. We're going to, I'll set up
Yeah, looking forward
downstairs
to
in
it.
front of the widescreen. And I've never
Yeah.
done a watch along before, so that'll be interesting. Probably
Yeah.
no one's going to watch, but it'll be fun for us. So that's
Do you reckon they'll wear the white kit?
um,
Because obviously
Yeah.
Inter Milan are blue and black, so we can't obviously wear our away kit, but we might wear our home kit potentially.
it'll either be home or the third. I think. I'm trying to think. When we played them last time, I think we wore the home kit. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
and that was at theirs. So it'll be interesting. But we'll know as soon as you know, like they post on social media, what they're going to be wearing. It normally comes up, so we'll know pretty much soon enough. But I think what we'll do, mate. I don't know what time you're going to get round, and we'll click on once the teams get announced, maybe. And then
I've got no work at the moment, mate, so I might come round in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll leave the keys out for you, mate. It's fine. Well,
I'll get the kettle on.
Yeah, get kettle on. Have a few beverages, but no, we'll set up and but when I get home, mate, I'll let you know. But if you're watching and you want to join in or just join in the chat, watch the game with us, comment as you go, and obviously we'll see what Arsenal can do. But it's the All About Arsenal podcast. It's episode 9, Josh. I don't know if you believe that. It's crazy. Obviously doing it 9 weeks. We've had a week off, so yeah. Not bad at all. Obviously, the Arsenal forecast will be back once Vinny and Alex are back. Obviously, both elsewhere today, but they would love to be here. So we've flicked it back. The All About Arsenal podcast was the original, wasn't it? We were the OGs.
Yes.
It started here, so and we'll always be here. The OGs. 9 episodes in, OGs. But no. So look. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for all the comments. Obviously, no one jumped in on the live phone, so we'll try it again next time. I know it was just out there, but there we go. But no, mate, I appreciate you. I will ring you and text you tomorrow, and then I'm going to play us out and in the stream. I'll chat to you quickly after.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Come on, you got us. I always do that. I've got to press 2 buttons. No.